For the adjectives, we have two more issues to deal with. We have the verb to be in all of these. Then also we need the standard of comparison. In English we say, this book is better than that book. We need the word than. So let's work on that first. Let's go to this verse. Okay, so whenever there's a comparison, we see there that the degree on the adjective is set to comparative. Whenever there's a comparison, that adjective phrase will include an embedded noun phrase. So let's write a rule to insert the word than. This will be a structural adjustment rule. Let's add a new group. Call this adjective issues. And for the syntactic category, semantic category, we should choose the part of speech that's most relevant to the rule. So in this case, adjectives. Okay. So here we'll use the input editor. We'll have an adjective phrase with an adjective and then a noun phrase. Okay. Let's set the features on the adjective to comparative right there. So whenever we have this construction, we want to insert a word into this noun phrase. This will be in a user-defined category. Generally these are, let's call it a comparison marker. Okay. Okay, that should do it. Okay, you've just entered a new constituent into noun phrases called comparison marker. Do you want to edit your first noun phrase phrase structure rule? Yes. So there it is at the top. That should be, it'll be one of these conjoiners. We'll never have a comparison marker and a conjunction and adposition at the same time. They're mutually exclusive. So let's put it in that group. So generate. This book is better than that book. Okay, so we solved that problem. Let's save this. And let's go back. I think we've solved this problem as well. Let's regenerate this one from here. Okay, now here, when you see something highlighted in red, this isn't comparing to the Word document from your MTT. This is comparing to the saved text. So what that's saying is all of the sentence is the same other than this N in the saved text. Okay? So bigger and better than, so we fixed a problem. We still have the verb to be, but the than is proper now. But remember, this isn't comparing with the Word doc, okay? Here in this dialog, it's comparing with the saved text. So we'll save this. Okay, so all we have left is the verb to be. So let's go work on that one. Okay, for the verb to be, it's very irregular, as you know, it's suppletive. So let's add a new. We don't want to handle the verb to be in our phrase builder rule for verbs. Let's add a new rule. It will be a table spellout rule. Okay, so it's not a simple rule. This will be a table rule. And we'll need one layer for past tense, one layer for future tense. We'll have first person, second person, third person, singular and plural. But if we look at the features right now, okay, here are the features for verbs. We don't have person and number on verbs yet. Person and number of the subject isn't a feature on verbs. We need to write a feature copying rule first. Let's go ahead and save this. Master enter prefix tag. Okay, we won't save this. Let's write our feature copying rule first. So, okay, when you're writing a feature copying rule, we want to copy person and number from subject nouns to verbs. You always choose the syntactic category here that's the destination of the copying. So in this case, we're copying two verbs. So we're going to add a group here. Subject agreement. So that's a group name. Now we double click on the group name, and now we have an empty rule. Okay, and we need to build a structure. So we need a noun phrase, and we need a verb phrase, and we need a noun, and we need a verb. And the order that you put these in doesn't matter. When you're building structures like this, I think in all of these rules you're able to build structures. And the order of the constituents in the structures never matters until you get down after the phrase structure rules. After the phrase structure rules have been executed, structures in these rules, the order does matter. Because after the phrase structure rules have put everything in order, then order does matter. But here, order doesn't matter. So let's provide some features. So this will be the subject. Okay, specify the source. We want to copy from the noun, and the button goes specify destination to the verb. And we immediately see a red arrow going from the noun to the verb. So feature to copy, let's copy person, and we'll call this person of subject. And one more, number, and we'll call this one number of subject. Okay, that's all we need here. So this one rule will copy two features, person and number. We can put in a comment. Okay, so now that we have that feature copying rule, now when we come back to our verbs, our spell out rules for verbs, now we have an empty rule. And this will be it'll be a new translation. It'll be a table rule of new translations. And now when we click here, person of subject and number of subject are available. We don't want to put those features in the upper corner though. Let's put past tense. And remember, we always use target tense and form, not time. So let's say this is past. And let's call this past tense. And let's make this first person. Second person. And third person. And general form, that's just default. Let's change this to singular. And let's add a column, plural. Okay, so I was, you were, he was, we were, you all were, and they were. Okay, so this is past tense, first, second, third, singular, plural. Okay, so that's it for this layer. Let's add another layer. Let's call this present tense. In our upper left corner, let's say present tense. And again, let's make this first. Second. Third. Let's change this to singular. And add another column, plural. Okay, so present tense. I am, you are, he is, we are, you all are, and they are. Okay. And by the way, you can enter comments into individual cells. If you right-click, you'll see that the cursor comes down here. And now you can insert a comment. That book is big. And then when you're done editing your comment, so that's a comment for that specific cell. And right now, you can enter comment for the entire rule down here. But you can right-click on a cell, enter a comment, and then that particular comment will be just for that one cell. Okay? So, now one more thing here. For this rule, we only want it to apply to the verb to be, not all verbs. So we need a trigger word. So let's specify that it only applies to the verb to be. Okay? And that should do it for this rule. We'll save that. Okay, that book is big. And it matches the MTT's text perfectly. So let's save it. And let's go back. So all we can do these here one at a time. We can say regenerate this verse. You can remember here it's comparing to the saved text, not the MTT's text. That book is too big. That's a perfect sentence. Let's save it. And we'll do these one at a time. John was afraid of those people. So that one was past tense. This one, Mary is proud. Mary is proud of John. Save it. John is interested in reading that book. So, all of these match now. Okay, it's always a good idea to occasionally go back and regenerate all of your text. We've added some new features. We've added new rules to the grammar. So I highly recommend that occasionally you go back. And now we're going to compare. We don't want to save this text anymore. We're going to compare and make sure that the current version of the grammar produces the same translation as the saved text. And this time we're going to go from nouns 1:1 to adjectives 1:19. And I'll do a time lapse here. Delete the old verses that have differences, yes. Okay, so we have one issue. There's one verse that has differences. After it finishes that, when we're comparing, after it finishes the passage that we specify, in this case nouns 1:1 to adjectives 1:19, it loads the differences. And we have one verse that changed, so it's the word same. Same is one of those identity pronoun and identity adjectives that we talked about. So let's go look at that verse. Display this first in the lexicon and grammar development. And did we put in in our noun phrase structure rule? Okay, we never entered the identity adjective, or adjective phrases that include an identity adjective. So let's do that now. Insert new constituent, adjective phrase, go to the head word, and identity is right there. Okay. Okay, an identity adjective phrase. So, for example, the word same. They read the same. This is the word the. So we want this after. Okay, they read the same good big red book. So it should be before. So it should be down around the cardinal numbers. We'll put it right there. Okay. And now when we generate this, John and Mary read the same book. So let's save it. So now we go to our. Okay, so everything in the nouns is fine. It matches what our MTTs put into our Word document. All of the verbs are fine, and all of the adjectives are fine. So it's time to start working on the adverbs. I'd like to make one more comment, and that is, when we go back here, this feature copying rule for verbs. Okay, whenever you copy number, like this rule copies number from the subject, whenever a feature copying rule copies number, the software knows that number is special. So for example, here we're copying number from subject nouns to the verbs. Suppose the sentence is, John, Mary, and Bill walked to the river. So there are three subjects, John, Mary, and Bill. So when you have a feature copying rule that copies number, the software will find all of those noun phrases. So it will find, in that case, it will find all three subject noun phrases. And then, let's say John is singular and Mary is singular and Bill is singular. It will add those values together. So singular plus singular is trial. And once it has trial, after it's finished the summation, then it will come up here to your feature adjustment rules. And it will look here. And whatever you've done with trial, it will provide this value. So here for English, we've collapsed trial with plural. So if the sentence is, John, Mary, and Bill went to the river, you will find all three of those subject noun phrases, add their numbers and get trial, and come here and see that you want trial collapsed to plural. So on your verb, you will have a value of plural, okay, after the feature copying rule is finished.